Has the government of Trinidad and Tobago considered approaching any foreign government for a donation of COVID-19 vaccines?
Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health has been having bilateral discussions with the government of China since October 2020. And once WHO approval is received for that vaccine made in China, we will follow up that, and we are confident that we would be able to access supplies from that quarter.
India is also very well on its way to supply vaccines to China. So far, with China's vaccine Sinopharm and Sinovac, the results have been very patchy with lack of data and transparency. On top of it, the countries who have received Chinese vaccines, like Brazil and Thailand, found the efficacy rates of Chinese vaccines at an abysmal 50%.
The truth is, the world is turning away from Chinese vaccines like all things Chinese. The developed countries of the West are turning isolationist. India is slowly but surely stepping into a leadership role here and displaying compassion, the kind of which has never been seen before. Why is the world interested in Indian vaccines? A, they're cost effective, and B, they're safe. The Moderna vaccine, for example, is expected to cost around $30, Sputnik V around $10. Now compare this to Covishield from India, approximately $6.
Trinidad and Tobago has so far invested 66 million TT dollars for the purchase of 462,000 vaccines, enough for 33% of the population.
From the African Medicines Council platform, we were initially allocated 226,000 doses. That has now been increased to 426,000 doses. We are awaiting price estimates and
It will also supply 200 million doses of vaccines to the COVAX alliance to distribute vaccines to poorer countries. India is ensuring equitable distribution of vaccines. As India's Prime Minister said, India is ready to save humanity with 2 made-in-India vaccines.
Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health has been having bilateral discussions with the government of China since October 2020. And once WHO approval is received for that vaccine made in China, we will follow up that, and we are confident that we would be able to access supplies from that quarter.
So there you have it. India at the helm, at the head, proving that their vaccine is close to 98, 99, 100% efficacy rate. China vaccine, nobody here know. Down in Brazil, Sinovac 50%. It ain't even working. WHO ain't approved. But Rowley is discussing. He is going to wait while you did to make friends with China, because when he's Minister of Housing, somehow China does get super contract, get money up front, have a clause that they have to get their money in 28 days. There are people like all you who do contract, work for the government, waiting 3-4 years for a little small money. You can't get your money paid. But he, Rowley, was the Minister of Housing and the Prime Minister, and China company get a sweetheart contract that it was so sweet, Rowley had to say it come in goat mouth and pretend like he threw it away. And then say, well, he don't know how it reached the cabinet. How it reached the cabinet? When you were the acting Minister of Housing. But furthermore, everybody in the world asking India. India is showing the world, Canadian Prime Minister, all the leaders in the world are saying thank you to India. They are bringing us out of this pandemic. And we in Trinidad and Tobago cannot ask India for some vaccines. Why is that? Ask yourself why. Every day that goes that we're not vaccinated, somebody's granny, somebody's mother, somebody's sister could dead. Our children are not in school. Our economy is shattered. Businesses are collapsing left, right, and center. 38% of businesses will never reopen again. If you go in Trinity Mall, if you could just try to catch mosquito flying around in empty area, square footage empty, and Rowley and them saying they are number one. They are number one if you're counting from the back. So why? Why this? Why couldn't we ask India? India High Commission right there. 60-year history with India, Gandhi Institute. What was so difficult in asking India, hey, we have something with COVAX, but even at maximum, that could give we 50%. We need another 50%. Help me, bring thing. What you have for me? Why we couldn't do that? But then we see this week, Business Express, monopoly created in the pharmaceutical industry. One Christian Mute. Who is Christian Mute? Mr. KFC man, Mr. PNM man, Mr. Balize all up in the K-Pax man, Mr. KFC man who Rowley fined to do a KFC report on the Bridgman's crooked deal, and he come out to say eat chicken. Mr. Mute, who was the head of the Roadmap to Recovery Committee, who say, hey, to keep Trinidad afloat, we had to sell assets and them lining up to buy everything. Mr. Christian Mute, who is KFC concessionaire, and they're going to sell and privatize all your gas stations. And when Smiley called Franklin Khan, when Franklin Khan in the Senate was told and debating in the budget, and Senator Lyder said, but you are giving concessions to the concessionaires, they're getting preferential treatment. Franklin Khan said, no, no, no. I come after and I read from his budget statement after the debate. I say, but Franklin Khan, you read your own Minister of Finance in the budget saying that those who have concessions in the gas stations will be given preferential treatment, will have a preferred bidder position, which is KFC. So them getting to do that. On top of that, macaroni and all, Senator Mark Shawley, because Mute producing macaroni here, the PNM government gone and put tax on all foreign macaroni 60% to help Mute. All you ever see an interchange built into a fast food place, right there in St. Augustine. They build a whole interchange and it land up in a KFC. So you could zing around in a circle and get a bucket of spicy. One time. You ever this, so now, then you link it now to the procurement legislation. And they got the procurement legislation. They had the audacity, the gumption to come to the country in the face of corruption like never seen before, in the face of Small Pin and Rowley buying ferry as if it's dynamite in the parlor. And they come to gut a procurement legislation that Kamala Prasad Bisesa laid and passed in the parliament to protect we money. Them come and take out many clauses, making it useless. And one of those clauses, you know what that included? Taking away the oversight of the procurement regulator over medical supplies and services. And now we hear that Mute buy up and Agostini, buy up Oscar Francois and our next one, and them grab up everything. And that Smith Robinson, who is Mute, is Pfizer, and now all the other vaccines of the other pharmacies all coming under one. And we had none. We ain't take free vaccine. We don't want that because they want to buy. Because somebody have money to get. Because no procurement legislation, no procurement regulator, medical supplies, isn't that vaccine? So you see how them bright for some things and dunce for others. Them bright for money, but dunce for saving your life. Them bright for gravel rolling from by a hospital to somewhere by them, but they dunce to give you injection. They bright to procure ferry for themselves, but dunce to give your children laptop, and all you vote for that, I can't even do the left foot and the right foot. They even playing games with money and thieving for vaccine. All you find that is enough. What all you go get vex? Only if your grandmother dead, you get vex? Let we go. They then come to say, them going to Africa. Now I is a Douglar. Me afraid to talk race. I going to talk race. So the black half of me talking, the Tobagonian half, the African half talking right now in this segment. Always the black so-called PNM government with an Oreo leader who every policy he do suffer black people. increasing the education gap, increasing the poverty gap, increasing opportunities for crime, suffering black people, putting Pumsite Rasta to ridicule black people and say the young people dunce and lazy and don't want to sweat. But the small pin brother, sweat, he in air condition, he get $3.81 billion. And now, your black African government that all you say, keep them Indian out of Tobago, the Calcutta ship. Never mind the treaty with respect. Never mind they build MIC center and gas station. Never mind they was going to build port and marina. Never mind they increase the jobs. Never mind they increase the allocation. Never mind Kamala Prasad Bisesa had the ferry service running smooth and Galicia moving left and right fast. Never mind that. Don't let them Indian come on the Calcutta ship. Well, your black government is going to black Africa to try and buy vaccine. Africa makes no vaccine. Africa is short of vaccine. Africa need 1.2 billion doses of vaccine multiplied by 2. They're only getting 250 million. They are billion vaccine short. And your loving black government is going to take black vaccine from black people, children in Africa to suffer them and let them dead day because somebody had to make money here and all you want to talk race with me. Africa need a vaccine. Only a criminal would buy vaccine and take vaccine from Africa when they are in a deficit worse than anybody else. Especially when we have access to India. Then you had this clown called Amory Brown. Anyway, run the video, Archie, on Africa.
It's been a year since the first COVID-19 infection was identified in South Africa. Since then, more than 50,000 people have died here and 1.5 million have been infected. While richer nations roll out vaccines, the program in South Africa has been much slower.
No person, no country, and no region must be left behind. Another important step is to enable the transfer of medical technology for the duration of the pandemic.
South Africa and India are leading a movement to suspend the World Trade Organization's agreement on intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccines. While some developing nations like Ghana, Ivory Coast and Lesotho have begun receiving their first doses through the UN-backed vaccine sharing scheme known as COVAX, many others in Africa are being left behind. South Africa is once again calling for access to cheaper drugs to save lives, with some arguing that despite COVID-19 vaccines being tested in Africa, many nations on the continent still remain at the back of the queue.
The African Medicines Council platform, we were initially allocated 226,000 doses. That has now been increased to 426,000 doses.
I don't know how y'all could even stomach listening to he and to listen to the abject total nonsense that man is talking. And that video you just saw there was just about South Africa. South Africa is a very rich country, well-managed, stable government, diamonds, gold, oil, gas, natural gas, manufacturing, tourism. South Africa is a rich nation, and they're suffering for vaccination for the people. Far less for other Malawi, Mauritius, other African countries that the Senegal, Somalia, countries that are not as lucky as South Africa. But we, black man, Trinidad and Tobago, spit out and could not ask India who making vaccine and gain we for free. We want to buy, and we want to buy also and take away from what the little bit that Africa have. And all you tell me, all your voting race, but like all your, the black government of Trinidad and Tobago don't like black people.